So here we are. It's the same scene. I just made this squashed cube with some segments that will present some sort of a board because I want to build a wood board material. Wood is really a multi-layered material, so it requires at least 3 various shaders in the layer shader. Add that material and we will call it a wood underscore board. You can use any naming convention you like, and currently you see that our object is a squashed cube, so it's a really good idea to use a projection that is suitable for that. Okay, so we'll change the projection to cubic. And you will see later a while, and I will disable this tile option. This means it will tile a pattern across the surface. We don't want that, so we'll turn off the tile. Let me explain something about cubic projection. If I go to my texture tool and select my board, you will see currently that this is the actual, this yellow grid is actually how the texture will be projected. And if I right click here on my material and do a fit to object command, you will see it will fit perfectly. So on these sides, the shader will be really detailed, and that is exactly what I want, since if you look at the woodboard in nature, these sides, these parts that are actually inside have a lot more detail in it than those on the top. Okay, I hope that makes sense. But always, if your object is really some sort of a primitive, or really represents roughly some primitive, always go for a projection that fits that object. It will help you a lot later. Okay, so enough about that. So let's build our wood material. There are in fact so many wood materials that you can create, and I'll create something that is somewhat complex and it could be really used nicely. Okay, so we are sure that we are going to use a layer shader, so let's drop it already in and start building. Let's load here under surfaces. We have a wood shader. I have to warn you that these predefined surfaces are really a starting point when you want to build something complex. So let's try with the wood shader and see what we get. If I do a test render now, well, it looks like some sort of a 90s wood material, I mean CG material in 3D. I really don't like these dark colors. Let's try with something else. So here you can choose from the type, and I will choose custom, so I can choose my own colors here under gradient. And let me select some colors. The only thing that I do prior to recording is actually to do these colors and save them, so I don't have to manually search here or type in values. So it's a little bit just of a speed up for the tutorial. And that's all that I do. Everything else is 100% workflow. So I'll drop in this color for the first gradient, and for the second one I'll drop, let's say, maybe the second one, something like that. And let's see what we get. I really want more of this color, so I will move this little gizmo more to the right, so I will get more of this lighter color. You can see the effect here already. And I think I should have somewhat more detail here, so I will add some numbers here. So let's double it. Let's try with 2 and 2 and 2 and see what we get. I think this is much better. Of course, you can enter your own numbers, whatever makes you happy when you're building textures. So let me try to add some distortion to one of these axes. So I will try, let's say, 3 here to get some sort of a random distortion. Okay, something like this could work. Maybe in 4. Let's try with 4. I think the 4 is too much. Let's leave it to 3, and it will be suitable enough for what we want to build. Okay, so this would be our first basic layer. I suggest always building your layers from the most basic feature and go slowly building extra layers of complexity. That's the recipe. It's somewhat similar to modeling. Let me just zoom in a bit and show you why I did a cubic projection. And you will see here under this side of the board. So the texture is really squashed and it really looks like a panel. So use those projections always when you can to help yourself to do as less manual work as you have to. Okay, so let's disable this render for now. I will go back here. I will navigate through my materials, and the next thing I want to do, I want to add some color variation to this surface. So it doesn't look so uniform and clean, because I can really see it's computer generated and we actually don't want that. So let's add a gradient here. And you see it, if it is in normal mode, it will completely cover this underlying shader, and we don't want that. You want to do layer by layer, so you exactly know what are you doing and how will it look. So let's enter this guy and add some colors to it, some wood colors. We could use, for example, this one, and for the other one I will use maybe this color. And when you are doing wood or something similar, always pick one color as a base and do just a small changes for the other ones. For example, this color is just a few % darker version of this one. Okay, so you have a nice transitions in your material. So let me do a quick render and see what I get. And this actually doesn't work for me. I want it to be somewhat random and splattered all over this surface. I will try to increase this turbulence value, which will distort this a bit. Maybe even 40%. And you can see it's coming from one way, and I really don't want that. Maybe it would be better if we come radially or circularly from the center. And let me try another type, so something like 2D circular. Okay, something like that. Maybe I'll play with colors. Maybe I will pick this one here, and maybe I'll pick maybe this one here. So it's opposite, yeah, something like that. And maybe I'll want to change the projection for this gradient. So if I change the projection here, let's say something like frontal. Let's see what we get. Well, this could work nice. So let's leave it at cubic. And I want to change the projection just for this gradient here. So let me just disable this so we have a much more responsive machine. And currently, if you select the, here it is, under effects, a projector, you can't really drag and drop that gradient inside. And I don't know why this doesn't work. What you can do is you can actually, here, you see this little plus sign, you can create a new material editor and simply create the effect here, the projector. And if you enter it, you will be able to drop this gradient here under texture. So you have to drag this icon, not these gradient letters. Okay, so simply drag it inside until you see a hand and it will be dropped inside. Okay, just to avoid confusion, simply close all windows and open it once again. So you have now a projector and very same gradient inside. Okay, so you can delete this gradient. And if you enter it, you will be actually able to choose the projection for that material. So let's see what options do we have. You see this paste tag, this is really nice feature. So if you want to completely paste the very same settings that you have here for projection, rather than manually putting those values in, you can simply do a paste tag command and it will completely copy that with exact values. Okay, let's try something like flat and see what does it look like. Oh, I don't like this. Maybe frontal. Oh, this seems rather nice and random. I'll go with this one. Okay, so let's go back and I'll put this in a multiply mode so I can see both. How do they look combined? And here we already have some nice results. And this could be suitable for some situations, but let me add something a bit more to it. For example, I wanted irregularities in color randomly on the surface. I will create a new shader here. So let's go here with noise, and you can see it completely ate up those two guys. So let me, just for the sake of working with only one at a time, I will turn the visibility off. Okay, so let me enter this noise shader and play around with settings a bit. I will use, let's say, maybe this color, and I will leave this to white, and I will tell you why. Because I want this color to gradually become completely white, so there is no visible transition when we combine it with other materials. I hope it doesn't confuse anyone. It doesn't stop you from putting some different color here to see the different effect. For that circular spots on the surface, I have to find something that closely resembles something like that. Maybe this could work, this displaced Voronoi. And what I actually want to do, I want to clip all these values. So we have a spot or few just randomly scattered all over the surface. So I'll clip this. Let me just scale this. I'll clip this high clip value. So let's say something like 50 for the start, and let's see what do we get. Maybe even more, maybe something like 25. Just searching for something that suits me. Maybe this could work, but I just want these dots to be a little bit more bigger. So let's try maybe double, 200%, and see what we get. Okay, something like this. This is actually quite nice. And since I want much more detail in them, I will increase these octaves to maximum number. And the maximum number here is, I believe it's 20. You won't really see that until you get really, really close. Okay, so just bear that in mind. It's really useful and often underutilized feature. So let's go back and enable our guys here. Let's find a suitable mixing mode for our noise, because currently it completely ate up those two when it's in normal mode. Let's try multiply. It often works. Let's try something like this. Yeah, this could work really nice. We have some random spots and stuff. We can even take this a little step further. So let's copy that noise. Let's hold down Control key and drag this guy, and we will create a copy of it. And it will be in normal mode when you copy it, just in case. That's something not to be confused about when it happens. And I want to create those really small irregularities in surface, similar something to those scratches we made with our metal surface. So from the experience, and you can really try all the texture. From the experience, I know this over will do the trick. I will change this to flat so I can actually see how does it look like. And let's play with the settings a bit. Let's change colors. So for example, here I could pick maybe this one. And here I could pick maybe this first one. It really doesn't matter, as long as they are in somewhat, when you are doing some scratches and really noises that you want to really see, that will be possibly used in bump, normal, or displacement channel, they have to be somewhat different in color. So really close values actually don't work that good. So currently I want to stretch this in one direction. So let me try something like 50 here, see what we get. Maybe even more, maybe 25, something more, like 10. Yeah, this could work. You see, we already have in preview. And maybe I'll clip those values even a bit more, so we have a less data to work. Let's try something like maybe 15 and see where it leads us. Maybe even 10. Let's try 10. And we could go back and see if we set this to multiply also what we will get in render. And we can, of course, we can play always with that later. This is some sort of a scratched wood. We could use some different colors here, for example. Could use this color and we will get somewhat different results, somewhat milder result. And I believe this is it. This actually looks quite nice.